The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations to Walton Valley Fire and Rescue on your new Tillard aerial apparatus, job number 28817. Please utilize this job number when referencing your new apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the front bumper. Underneath the front bumper, you'll find flush-mounted 2 forward-facing fog lights. You'll also find, just inside of that location, 2 closed tow hooks. Up onto the front bumper face, on the passenger side, you'll find dual air horns. Moving to the center and also out to the driver's side front bumper, you'll find 2 mechanical sirens. Moving to the side, this is going to be the passenger side, you'll find a side-facing light and also an emergency warning light. This light is also mounted on the location for your cab lift access door. You'll also find a turn marker indicator. Moving up from that onto the body, you'll find your rear-facing side camera. And moving up from that location in the headlight cluster, you'll find your turn arrow indicator. And moving just inside of that location in the headlights, you'll find your low and high beam. The high beam will be the enter. Moving up from that, you'll find a forward-facing emergency light. And then further up or more toward the center, you'll find your mechanism here for your windshield wipers. Moving up to the top at the very cab, you're going to find a forward-facing flood. And up from that location on the brow, you'll find your running lights. All the way up to the very top of the apparatus, there are 3 light bars. First, on the front, there is your full width light bar. We're back underneath, just taking a look at the close-up here, tow hooks and also fog lights. Let's move around to the side of the apparatus. You'll find your turn indicator, marker light. This is also the location for your cab lift and controls for that. Moving up to the top, just a slight image here of that rear-facing camera. Let's get back to the cab lift. This is the control panel for that. Starting in the upper left-hand corner is the lock release. You also have the directional for lower and raise and the activate. The black capped area is where the remote will plug in to power that. Let's go ahead and take a look at that side-facing camera. This is going to give the display on the driver's information here on the screen for what's on the side of the vehicle. Quick shot of your department logo, and then we'll move over to the passenger side of the vehicle. On all of the wheels, primary wheels, you'll find axle hub indicators for fluid checks. Up from that location, locking door latches and also grab handles. There's a side-facing mid emergency light. Moving up from that location up to the very top, this is going to be the second and third emergency light bar. They're all controlled with that switch from inside the cab. We'll next talk about the compartments just to the rear of the cab. Let's go ahead and take a look inside those. You can see this is a through compartment here all the way from the passenger to the driver's side. This is also the location of the air chuck and air control, and also up at the top your shore power battery backup. Let's move back to the very back here. We're going to take a look at this indicator. This is a hot exhaust warning regarding the temperatures of your exhaust. Extremely hot. Be cautious as to where you park. Up from that location, you'll find this compartment, blue cap, DEF 4.5 US gallons. Moving to the very rear section of the apparatus, you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel, silver cap. There's one also on the opposite side. We're now midsection here. We're going to talk about the points here for attaching. There are attachment points. There are also warning labels regarding the use of those attachment points. There's also a set of warning labels here regarding hazards and dangers, regarding crush, and also regarding angles of approach for your apparatus and the possibility of not utilizing the outriggers properly. Located in the center, silver cap, you're going to find your large diameter aerial intake.
Moving over to the right, you'll find the aerial intake gauge. Moving just down from this gauge, you'll find a ball valve lever. This is going to be your aerial drain. Moving forward of that location, you'll find a lever. This lever allows you to lock the aerial and the tractor together. Moving up from that, you'll find a 0 to 15 degree indicator for front to back and right to left. Also up onto the top, you're going to find you have two on the right and left electrical reels. You also have located in the center your generator and your hydraulic fill for that generator. Moving on to the side, you'll find behind this access panel the high idle indicator. You'll also find emergency hydraulic power switch. And just down beneath that, you'll find the controls for the passenger side and driver side stabilizers. And then underneath or just beneath that, you'll find the warning label regarding aerial stability and hazards, and to seek that advice before operating your aerial device. Let's move just to the rear of this compartment. Similar concept here. This is going to be the aerial emergency power or stabilizer emergency power. This is a selector switch. There is also a handle for controlling those valves. And as you move further up onto the top, you can see these are the valve locations. Onto the actual door itself, you'll find the hydraulic diverter override controls and stabilizer manual operation buttons. Just beneath that, you'll find your warning label regarding tip hazard regarding the short jacking of your apparatus or not fully extending your outriggers, and also a danger regarding high pressure fluids. This is going to be the button here to push for your cord reel rewind. It is a 20 amp, 200 feet. Let's take a look at the section. This is the tractor area. We'll talk about these components. There are three all the way across the very top, and we'll talk about those individually. There's also one on the far driver side, passenger side, and one located in the middle. There is also top storage compartment, full width at the very top. You can see in this image now. And then we'll also talk about the cutout, which is just down at the lower left-hand corner of your image. First, let's start back up with that first area we looked at. This is going to be a location here regarding your hydraulic pressure. Moving to the right, you'll find a aerial hydraulic oil fill location. There is no valve behind this cap. And you'll also find on the far right, this is your power steering fluid ATF Dexron 3 fill location. This is the lit full compartment of the width of your apparatus of the cab. And then this is going to be your hydraulic aerial. This gives you temperature and also the level. Moving up further, you'll find rear-facing floodlights. And we'll take a quick look here at the ladder. Specifically, we'll talk about on the right-hand side, the pedestal area. We'll talk about some of those components. First, let's start with some warning labels here. And those are for the use of your owner's manual, in addition with operating this with instructions and previous training. There's also a latch here to open the hood, and at the very top there is going to be your communication device, and at the very bottom, in the very back of this, you'll find two access doors, one general access, the other one to access internally for components. And at the very bottom in orange, your dead person switch here regarding operational use of the aerial device. Let's go ahead and talk about some of those components here next. First, let's start with this smaller access door. This is going to gain access to the right and left rotation. And then as we move up onto the pedal itself, there is some additional warning labels on the latch itself, or on the cover I should say, for caution, warning, and danger. Please seek the advice of those. On the very far right hand side, or the very top of the lid, you'll find an additional placard. This placard here gives information on your 100-foot steel aerial. It's the load chart when you have waterway dry and also the waterway charged. It also will give you information here on the monitor nozzle position. And there's also a chart on the very far right hand side for setup per NFPA specs. Located on the top section here, you'll find your communication. This is the speaker module, and just beneath that you'll find the push to talk volume and also a button for that communication device. On the actual pedestal itself, you're going to find your tracking lights. You'll find your ladder tip floodlights. Those are the lights on the tip of the ladder. You're also going to find your high idle switch on off. And then on the right hand side, if your outriggers are not, or your stabilizers are not fully extended, you'll get this caution and warning label regarding that. There's a green indicator light when the light is lit. It's indicating that the rungs are aligned. And on the lower left, this is a test indicator for those lamps. To the right, you'll find your emergency hydraulic power, and in the center, you'll find your waterway flow, and on the far right, you'll find your hydraulic system pressure. Let's move down next to the panel just beneath this area. First, you'll find in this area nozzle control. You can see that there is a switch which has a yellow indicator for stowing your nozzle properly. Stream and fog, right and left, and lower and raise. Once again, nozzle controls. On the right-hand side, the levers here are going to be for your ladder control. You do have a protected lever here. This is the retract and extend, currently protected in the extend mode, and that's so you don't extend when your ladder is stowed into the cab of the tiller person's location. You also have right and left rotation, and also lower and raise for the aerial itself. These are the three controls for your aerial device. Moving just to the right of the pedestal, on the ladder itself, you'll find your inclinometer regarding degrees for your aerial when it is in the upright position. You'll also find on the side of the apparatus markers at 10-foot intervals, 50, 60, 70, all the way to 100. You also find your black indicator on the top of the ladder indicating that your ladder has been stowed. To the right and left, you'll find additional tip lights and also tracking lights. Your ladder has a roof ladder on the left-hand side, which you can see here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tip section here. First, let's start first on the left-hand side, the gray box. This is going to be your light control. There's a switch on top of that. You're also going to find a detachable, which is in red for the tip of your ladder. You're also going to find on the right-hand side communications. We'll break these down a little bit further as we move through this. And then located in the center, you find the ability to move your waterway to a lower location or lower fly when your ladder is stowed. To the right, down in the lower section, you'll find nozzle control. Let's take a look at those individually. Here you can see at the top the tip floodlights. This is for the right and left. Moving to the right-hand side, you're going to find a generated power outlet, and you're also going to find your communication. Down in between, you're going to find your straight, fog, right and left, up and down for your nozzle. And on the nozzle itself, you have additional controls here for oscillate, park, and then controls of those nozzles itself. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual cab for the tiller person spot. This is going to be from the ladder looking to the rear. We'll go ahead and break down the components with inside. As we step inside, you'll find windshield wiper fill location. This is the very rear of the apparatus, right-hand side of the vehicle. You'll also find on the right and left monitors here for those rear-facing cameras and forward-facing cameras. You'll also find an on-off switch for high and low for the fans, and also a high and low switch for that on the actual dash. There's also going to be a warning label on the dash regarding the use of seat belts when operation. And as we move further into the center of these two devices, you'll find your climate control for your rear heat. Located on the column, we're going to find this safety cable attached to a pin. The pin is to secure the steering column to fix the rear wheels in a straight position. We'll also talk about the foot pedal down at the lower left-hand side. Let's go ahead and move up to the steering column itself. These are going to be your comfort controls here for tilting and telescoping of the steering column. Close-ups here of those images for the fan system and also your heating system. Let's go ahead and move to the opposite side. This is going to be the right-hand side of the vehicle or passenger side. You'll see you also have video control here. Moving downward from this location, you'll find your warning buzzer for 1 stop, 2 go, and 3 for backup. And on the left-hand side, you're going to find your shift inhibit override. There is also a protected switch inside the operator's position in the front of the vehicle. Let's look overhead, push on, push off red and white lights. You'll also find a rudder gauge here from right to left and center. Let's go ahead and cover some of those things. First, starting on the right, you've got your windshield wiper control, step light, and also an indicator here regarding jackknife warning, also similar on the dash in the cab. You also have a red brake for your parking brake, indicating that your parking brake is on. Moving to the left-hand side, you'll find your backup alarm cancel, perimeter lighting, driver's side tiller scene, and also passenger side tiller scene lights. Let's move down to the cluster in the lower section of your apparatus. This is your right and left turn, brake, backup, and also emergency warning lights. Located in the back, you have also additional attachment points or tow hooks, and also storage in the lower section down at the bottom in between those tow hooks. Moving up, you'll find a cluster of switches for all of your lighting and also a generated power plug. Let's go ahead and move up to the very top with these right and left side-facing 360-degree emergency lights. Just up from the large compartment here, you'll find your traffic advisor. Just up from that in the white component, this is going to be your backup reverse camera. And then above that camera, you'll find your rear-facing floodlight. Also, just opposite of the Pierce logo on the right-hand side of the image, you'll find a danger label regarding electrical entanglement while utilizing your aerial device. Generalized view of the side of the apparatus. We'll now start by the tiller portion here. This is where your outriggers are. This is a light indicating where the outrigger will place when it is fully extended. Just up from that, you'll find two front and rear side-facing floodlights. We'll take a look at some of these compartments. Let's first start where the outriggers are located. At the very top, you'll find a push button for your rewind. You'll also find a warning label here. These are your outriggers, and there could be a crush possibility when moving those. A side-facing emergency warning light, and then once again that same danger label regarding electrical entanglement and electrical hazards. Underneath, you'll find the outrigger itself, and just to the rear of that location, or just to the right of that location, you'll find your outrigger pad. As we move just to the right, you're going to find an additional side-facing marker light, and then we'll talk about the components inside this compartment. This is the vent system for all of your compartments that currently are plumbed for air ventilation or recirculation. You'll also find in this same compartment the main disconnect. Let's go ahead and take a look in the next compartment. This is a through compartment. This shelf will slide from right to left on both sides. It is adjustable up and down. As we look to the next set of compartments, we'll find adjustable shelving and also the ability for bottle storage locations here on the left, and also a shore line output. This is a 15 amp plug. When plugged into shore power, it is activated. The next compartment will house most of your flush mounted electrical junction boxes. We'll talk about those boxes next. This is your G1, which is for generator. You can see the bank of breakers here on the left and on the right hand side, clearly marked here in this G1 panel. Let's move to the right of this location. You're going to find your Harrison indication here for the frequency amps for line 1 and 2, and also your AC volts. This is going to be your S1 panel. This is the engine heater, compartment vent system, and also the battery charging system. As we move up from this, once again, this is for shore power. Just above that is where your generator information mode is. Let's move to the right. This is going to be the S1A panel. You can see that the breakers here are 1 through 6. S1A is the main driver's side seat receptacles, compartment receptacles, and also refrigerator. Just underneath that, you'll find a long compartment which has the ability for interior shelving. And above that, you'll find an additional long compartment here. Once again, all of the compartments have interior lighting. And as we move through the compartments, you can see that they also have the material that allows to keep equipment up from that location for air circulation. We're now back to the rear section of the apparatus. We'll find in the upper sections this green indicator regarding the location of your right and left wheel. And you're also going to find your backup or reverse cameras. These are side facing for the operator in the tillerman's cab. You also have 120 volt generator outlet plugs on both the right and left side, and in the rear compartment you have your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel cap location for filling for your heater in the rear. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rear section of the apparatus. We've covered most of the components, but let's cover a couple items that we did not cover. First, with the switches. At the very top, this is your rear floodlight. You also have driver and passenger side, and also a rear receptacle. Located in between the two attachment points, you'll find additional storage, and in the main compartment is the ladder storage and long tool storage location. Moving around to the passenger side of the vehicle in the rear, once again, locking roll-up compartment door, ventilation system, and lighting. In this image here, we're pointing out that it has the green indicator here for the location of your rear wheel. Moving up from that location, side facing, there's front and also a rear floodlight, and then also your right turn mirror for the operator of the tiller person's location. Indicating here, we have the SCBA bottle storage. In addition, at the very top is the forward-facing camera, and then your generator 120-volt outlet. Let's move forward to this location, and we'll check some of those compartments again. Once again, all the compartments have interior lighting. Some of the compartments have airflow. Let's go back down to the rear wheel location. Once again, you have the Stemco indicator here regarding your fluid within inside the axle, Alcoa wheels, and then you can see as we move forward to that location, long compartment here, dry deck material, light, and also air ventilation and a locking roll-up compartment. We're now moving forward, adjustable compartments here. This compartment also offers a shoreline outlet. Once again, 15 amp plug. This is an outlet. When plugged into shore power, it would be activated. Moving forward to this location, a variety of different pull-out compartment shelves. The lower shelf is pull-out. The mechanisms are on the right-hand side, and also the black latches allow it to be pulled out. This is that same through compartment as we saw on the other side, just from the passenger's view. Let's go ahead and now move to the lower section here. This is going to be the outrigger in the far right-hand corner, and this is the location of the outrigger pad. Moving up to the very top above this location, you'll find, once again, your cord reel, 200 feet long, 20 amp plugs, and also you'll find just underneath these reels the controls for your stabilizers. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the attachment points here. These are the warning labels regarding those attachment points. There are 2 of them on this side. There's also going to be some warning labels and hazard labels regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards with that, and also the ability for utilizing your owner's manual to understanding the ability to set up your apparatus aerial device appropriately. Also on this side, you're going to find silver cap indicating low ultra sulfur diesel fill location. In this compartment, same as the other compartment, you're going to have that air chuck here, which also has a control for it. This is once again for air shutoff, and it's an outlet. We're now looking into the rear section of the cab. We're going to find 3 seats. The 2 outer seats are going to have the ability for SCBAs mounted in them, and the center one does not. We also have a refrigerator located on the driver's side, and on the center and passenger side, you'll find additional storage with netting. On the outside of those seats, you'll find 2 locations for charging of LED lights, storage underneath those 2 SCBA seats, and in the non-SCBA seat in the center, you'll find just underneath in the diamond plated area a cutout which houses the controls for increasing and decreasing the temperature, and also fan speed for that heater. Quick look at the seats. 2 outer seats, SCBA red seat belt for indication for visual ID. On the outer edges, you'll find compartment lights. This is the switch located here on the right and on the left-hand side. And then you're also going to find, once again, that refrigerator on the driver's side. Let's move to the front of the apparatus. Here on the front side of the cab, this is the passenger seat. Located at the base, you'll find 3 foot pedals. Those 3 foot pedals offer control for the air horn, electronic siren, and also the mechanical siren. Moving up on to the dash area, specifically in this location when the arrow is pointing, this is going to be your vehicle data recorder area. This is a port for plugging into for vehicle information. Let's go ahead and look overhead of the passenger seat. We're going to find control modules here for your manual, whale, yelp, and priority for your siren, and also PA control. Also located in the center, you'll find your Pierce indicator, red indicating someone is in the seat but not belted, green indicating in the seat and belted. Also located in the center, you'll find this round style red indicator indicating that you have a compartment door open or ajar. Located behind the seats, you're going to find additional outlets. These are shore power outlets. There are 2 of them on the passenger side. Located in between, you're going to find your access point for transmission and also engine oil check. As we move back up to the front cab area, let's talk a little bit about some of the components. We're looking now from the passenger side over toward the driver's side. You'll find a USB style 12-volt access point, cup holders, and also your mirror controls. Located at all points of entries for personnel, you'll find warning labels regarding the use of seatbelts. Also, I'd like to direct you toward the driver's side. We'll talk a little bit about these warning hazard labels. First, let's start with the red label here regarding the use of seatbelts. Once again, red in color for easy visualization. This is going to be your air inlet for plugging into air. Just above that, you're going to find you have shore power inlets. This is for shore inlet 30 amp plug. Let's go ahead and move just up from this location to that yellow placard. This is the manufactured for Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue. It houses your date of manufacture, job number, gross vehicle weight rating, VIN number, and also it has all of the fluid capacities for devices and also types of fluid. The VIN number is also located on the A pillar, which is on the driver's side. Back down to the foot pedal area. This is going to be your mechanical siren. We're in the driver's section. And as we move to the right, you'll find your steering column and also foot pedals here for brake and accelerating. On the left, you're going to find your green, gray, and black. These are all ports here for diagnostics and also an audible speaker. In red, you'll find your battery switch on and off. And as we move up onto the dash itself, standard dash components here for speedometer, tachometer, transmission, oil, water temperature, DEF level, fuel level. You'll find your front and rear air and also your volts. Up in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find a yellow placard. I have that in the next image here. This is going to be coming from Pierce Manufacturing. It has the height at 11 feet 2 inches, length 60 feet 1 inch, and 38.30 tons. It also has your job number. On the left, you're going to find your panel switch for dimming and brightening, headlights, start and ignition switch. Overhead of the operator, we're going to find a set of push-on, push-off switches with indicators. Let's go over those next, starting in the upper left-hand corner with your emergency master, roof light, front warning, and side warning. On the next section down, you're going to find your rear warning, siren brake, your opticom, and your white light cancel. Let's move just to the right of this location. We'll find an additional set of switches. This is going to be your electronic horn, electronic siren, high beam flash, perimeter lights, front flood, driver's side and passenger side flood, and also your rear flood. Let's move over just to the right once again. You'll find the controls for your traffic advisor. You have a left, right, split and flash, low, off, and high control, and the direction of your indicator LED readout. On the base right-hand side, you're going to find that shift inhibit override switch, which is the same switch in the very back of the Tillerman's compartment. And in the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a jackknife warning indicator. This will flash if your ability is to jackknife. You'll also find additional displays here on the dash panel. And as we move to the right-hand side, we'll talk about this next set of clusters of things, first starting at the top with your climate control, and then we'll move down to this set of switches for your engine brake on-off, engine brake low, medium, and high, mirror heat, your fog lights, your DPF regen, and your DPF regen inhibit, which is the red switch. Let's move down to the next set of switches here. This is going to be your driver's side window, passenger side window. These are the driver's side and passenger side rear cab windows, and also your load manager, and on the very far right-hand side, the last switch, which is going to be your backup alarm override. Generalized view here of the midsection of your apparatus. Let's first start with the Pierce Information Center. That's going to be this monitor device here, which you can scroll through a variety of different information zones. Take a look at this. It's very helpful. A tremendous amount of information at your fingertips. Let's move to the left in yellow. This is your pull to apply system parking brake, push to release, and also you have your warning buzzers. This is going to be your Allison transmission pad. Moving to the right, you're going to find your aerial master, lockout cylinders engaged. You'll find your OK to engage the high idle switch, your PTO for your generator, Tillerman not seated, stabilizer scene, and differential lock. This is also the location just on the back side of your front flat mirror and convex mirror controls and cup holders. Congratulations, Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, job number 28817. Please enjoy your apparatus. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales associate. Thank you and congratulations once again.